Problems mean you are about to be blessed. What does that mean? It means all of the hell that you're going through is a great thing. I know it's hard for you to believe that. I know it's hard for you to believe that. But I want you to think about the heart monitor when you're in a hospital. It goes up and down, up and down. That means there are peaks and lows, peaks and lows. If it stay too high, that's not good. If it goes low, we know it's not good, especially if it stay there. So you got to have lows in life and you got to have highs. But notice something. When it drops and then it spikes up, and you know what I love the most about charts like that? When I buy at a dip, whoo, with my stocks, and then it shoot up, I'm like, thank you, Lord, for my portfolio. Look at this money go strong. That's the same way life is. You say, Dr. Limitless, how do you know that? Because I've been through the shit. Yes. Look, I got to say that because I want you to understand. I know. You're like, yo, I need examples. Okay, well, in 2019, I give you a back. So, all right. In 2018, my boy Virgil Parker, hey, Park, what up, man? Love you, brother. So we in the Bahamas, and this cat is using cash for everything. And I'm sitting here like, yo, you use cash for everything? And he looked at me. He said, cash is king, brother. Cash is king. And I'm sitting there, I'm pulling out credit cards like, dang, this is maxed. This is close to max. Man, I'm in debt, bro. So that whole trip, I'm just thinking, this dude said cash is king. And I'm making well over 6 figures at the time. And I'm like, but we living kind of paycheck to paycheck. I'm like, yo, what the? Something got to change. So when I came back that summer, this was in May 2018, came back that summer, I actually did a workshop talk on this. And in June of 2018, I said, man, I got to get out of debt. I got to get out of commercial debt. And I went through all of my bills, everything. And I was like, damn, I'm $80,000 in debt. 80,000. You heard that right. And I was like, yo, it made me think about this time when I saw my mom with all of these bills on the table. And I was like, yo, mom, what is this? And she was like, yo, these are all the people we owe, baby. And it scared the shit out. I was like, you owe that many people? Now, mind you, I'm pretty sure that debt was probably nothing compared to the debt I had. But anyway, I had a lot of debt. And they was in debt now. But I said, okay, if the law of attraction is real, I'm going to speak this out to the universe. I'm going to be out of debt by the end of 2018. And something silently said, bullshit. That's bullshit. When do you really want to be out of debt? At the time, I was still James, right? I want Limitless. All the stuff that happened turned me into Limitless, baby. But anyway, I said, all right, realistically, I want to be out of debt September 29, 2018. So the 29th of September, I want to be out of debt. And I want you to think, this is in June now. And I was like, all right, so now my mind is ultra alert. And the universe is working in my favor. And at the time, things are happening. I'm preparing for tenure and all of this. And there's some challenges. But I just kept hearing something say, you about to be blessed. You about to be blessed. The universe is always working in your favor. The universe is always working in your favor. So that's what I heard. And I was like, all right, bet. So I never ever was like, I'm not going to refinance, man, bro. Like, and then something was like, a refinance thing came to my house. And it was like, yo, you get locked in at 2.something%. And I was like, shh, let me do this. So I refinanced. 40,000, boom, came like that. Then I was like, oh shoot, so that's 40. Okay. And it might have been 50. I'm not for sure. And then I was like, so where can I get other money from? I was doing some acting jobs, speaking engagements. So I generated about probably about 10,000. I want to say 10,000 or somewhere around there. And then I was like, yo, okay, I had this policy when I was at Rocky Mount Prep, a 403B. Let me see what happened in that policy. Let me see if it matured. The policy matured to like 20, or I want to say right around 20,000. And I was like, bad. And that put me at 80,000, whatever that is. And these numbers could be off, but it put me at 80,000. And then, because it was my 4th year at University of Tennessee, and they give you $100 for every year that you're there, they gave me $400. So I made $80,400 from June 2018 to September 28th, 2018. And I was like, yo, all right. So bet, I'm out of commercial debt, but I still have student loans. And something told me when I got my first doctorates, you're never going to pay for your student loans. And I'm like, man, how's that going to happen? And this was in 2010 when I graduated from University of Phoenix. And then I went back to Iowa State, got my PhD, and I'm like, okay, how's this going to happen? And nothing transpired. I want you to see, 2010, I got that message. So sometimes your blessings are delayed because what? The universe is always working in your favor. All right. So 2010, now this is 2019. So at the time, Donald Trump's administration passed this thing called a Patriot Act. And you had to be permanent and total in order to have your student loans paid for. And something said, yo, submit anyway. So I was like, bet, all right, I'm going to submit. And I submitted. This was in August of 2019. In November, I think it was like the 2nd week of 2019. And I got all of this paperwork. If you ever want to see it, I can show you. November of 2019, a student had an allegation. I stole her research. I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, yo, this is some bullshit, man. Come on. And God is like, be quiet. You about to be blessed. Be quiet. And I was like, all right, bet. A week later, I receive a notice from the Department of Education. Your student loans have been forgiven. I run to my computer. Boom, 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 boom. Open up my computer, tap on to see what's going on with my student loans. And once I tapped on those student loans, it says 0. So what did I learn from that? This is what I started saying. The universe is always working in your favor. So it created a paradigm shift. And I want you all to think about this. Whenever something so-called bad happened, you are about to be blessed. Think about it. You can choose the way to look at it. If something bad happened and you say, oh, it's more bad things going to happen, bad things travel in 3. I hear people say all of that dumb shit. You're creating that law of attraction. You're creating that. It's called Murphy's Law. When something bad happened, it creates a snowball effect. No, 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 no. When something bad happened, that is just a low. I'm about to shoot at a peak. Recently, had a student that didn't like, I guess, the way some lecture happened in class. And it was like, well, there's allegations that you said women should be submissive and that women are inferior and all. I'm like, yo, this is bullshit, man. I said, I don't know if it's heterosexual because I'm heterosexual or I have 3 daughters and a beautiful wife. I think women are the greatest creation ever made. I truly believe that. Without women, shit, life would be boring. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, women are the greatest creation ever. And I may have my beliefs, but I believe there is nothing without women. Are you fucking? Anyway, so what they said, well, yo, we got to talk to your students. I said, talk to them, man. Look, this is what I realized, and Beyonce said it best. Nothing real can ever be destroyed. When you are real and you know who you are, man, stand on that shit. Let it happen. My students was in there maybe 10 minutes. And I see my students come out. And they were like, Dr. Limitless, we was tapping on your door looking for you. Man, that BS they was asking, we like, yo, he's the best professor. He love us, da-da-da. And I just was like, yo, I got a little emotional. I was like, man, I truly appreciate the love. So the dean called me and said, your students spoke highly of you. Nobody said that, but we had to go through this. But this is the thing. It looked like it was a so-called problem. But while that was occurring, the universe was working in my favor. How was that? Jamaica, out of all of the places, I just went to Jamaica on a cruise. They reach out to me. Yo, we want you to come out here and teach this course for a week. We'll put you up in a resort. We'll fly you out and we will pay you. I'm like, yo, I need more allegations, bro. The universe is always working in your favor. Stand on who you are. Stop worrying about problems. Look, I hear God keep telling me, James, you teach managers how to deal with conflict. You're going to deal with a lot of conflict in your life because you got to be a real testimony. You got to be a real testimony. See, I have created issues in my marriage. I have created issues with my kids. I have created issues with my friends, etc. Notice I said I don't worry about what they do. I worry about me. What is it that I can do to be better? I'm imperfect, bro. Or sister, I'm imperfect. And I would never claim to be perfect. I've done it all. I've done a lot of things that people would not be proud with. And people say, I know you can't be proud. No, dude, look, let's keep it real. Anything that you did that you don't like now, you enjoyed it at the time. It was the reason why you was doing it. Even afterwards, if you had that negative feeling that you know was wrong, it was something that allowed you to do it because we all got free will. Everything I did, I made the decision to do. Everything. Everything I'm doing now to really try to align my actions, attitudes, and thoughts with God, that's me now. That's me being limitless. That's me being limitless. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm 45 years old. I don't know how much time I got left, and I'm grateful for all the time God gave me because I play Russian roulette with my life in a lot of ways. And God has given me grace, and God has blessed me. And for whatever reason, the universe is always working in our favor. Got to be real. Got to be real. It's working in our favor, even when we don't do what we're supposed to do. But somewhere I read, all things, not the good things, all things work for the good of those that love the Lord and that's called according to his will and purpose. Purpose. I love my Christian brothers and sisters, but do not get caught up with this religion of thinking you got to do right and you got to do this right. Man, get out of here. The more they say they're doing right, the more they lying. Because the Bible said there is nobody on earth that always does good. Even Jesus said, why do you call me good? Ain't no good in me. It's the Father that sent me that's good. So stop walking around with your head up like you better than everybody else. I know I'm not. And I'm not ashamed to admit that. But I do know this. Anything that I have dealt with in this world has prepared me for something greater. Everything that you are going to face is creating puzzle pieces to your life. Don't argue with people, man. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you're going to always respond with the right attitudes and emotions. Man, you may get mad. You may cuss somebody out. That's cool. But be self-aware. How are you going to grow in that area? What new skill are you going to develop? People are going to try to push you and hey, let them push you. But you don't have to fall over. But the biggest takeaway, realize, change your paradigm. Start telling yourself, as soon as something so-called bad happen or a problem come in your life, man, I'm about to be blessed. And don't put a timetable on it. Don't say I'm about to be blessed in 5 minutes. I'm about to be blessed in an hour. I'm about to be blessed tomorrow. You don't know when it's coming. But just realize it is coming. Because the universe is always working in your favor. That is just a fact. I'm telling you what I know. Some of you all know I did a TED Talk. God showed me that before I did it. And I told people it. Ask my cousin Amani. Ask my brother Matt. Ask my wife. When I went to Spain, I said, yo, something came to me and told me I'll be going to Spain this year and I won't pay for it. The next year I said, look, I'm going to China and they're going to have me over there working. I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. 2 months later, I was working a contract to go to China. When you sit and be still, the universe is speaking. You call it God, you can call it chi, you can call it energy, you call it whatever you want. You call it yourself. Or you could be foolish to think that somehow this magnificent, unique universe, you just existed. Okay, whatever. That's belief too. So stop thinking I'm atheist. I have no, you got beliefs. I need numbers. I need quantitative. So you believe in mathematics. You believe in science. That's a belief. That's a belief. So stop being so defensive and open yourself up to the possibilities that there's something else out there, something else greater. And I know there's something greater. The universe is working always in your favor, even in death. So buy into the fact that it's not a problem, it's a blessing. Start looking at problems as a blessing. You just can't see it yet. But there will be a positive contextual outcome. Continue to believe, continue to receive. And like I end every show with, remember this: today is a glorious day, my friends. And for 86,400 seconds, you will give your what? Your excellence and your best until you're laid to rest. I'm abundantly blessed and never stressed. Be better than your best and never, ever rest on your last success. Go ahead and look at it. Check your life. Be limitless. Be limitless, my friends. Love you. Out.